I am Brooke Landry. I'm a biologist with the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, and I also run the Chesapeake Bay program's SAV work group. SAV stands for Submerged Aquatic Vegetation. They're also known as underwater grasses or bay grasses. SAV is good for a number of things. It provides food and habitat and refuge and nursery grounds for a number of the species that we know as iconic bay species like blue crabs and rockfish and things like that. SAV also is really efficient at absorbing excess nutrients from the water column and the sediments, so it reduces the prevalence of algae blooms, which is a good thing. It also provides a physical structure in the water column, like this, that helps reduce wave and current energy. So when waves are rolling over these seagrass beds, it actually reduces the energy, and that helps reduce shoreline erosion, which is a great thing. Additionally, because they're plants, just like all other plants, they need to photosynthesize. So that means they need light. Since they need light, the water needs to be nice and clear. This shot is a good example of really clear water, and we want all of the bay's water to look like this. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's a little bit more sediment in the water. Sometimes there is algae in the water. And so we don't always have a nice abundant bed like this, but we're hoping to. And when we do see a grass bed like this, it's a really easily visible indicator of water quality. So because SAV is such an excellent indicator of water quality and clarity, the Chesapeake Bay program has set an SAV restoration target for the whole bay. Each of the rivers has their own individual target, but they cumulatively combine to one large SAV restoration target, which is 185,000 acres. But how do we know where those grasses are? Well, it just so happens that we have one of the best SAV monitoring programs in the world. It's a comprehensive monitoring program. It's been going on annually for over 30 years. We started in 1984. And each year we have over 180 flight lines that flies over the entire bay and each of its tributaries. And we use aerial photography to take pictures of the bay and determine where that SAV is. And using sophisticated mapping programs, we can actually digitally map out each of those SAV beds. And once they're all mapped out throughout the course of the summer, then we can add up each of the beds and get a total acreage. So in 2017, for example, we had over 100,000 acres of SAV in the bay, which is huge. That was the first time that we've exceeded the 100,000 acre milestone. We got up to almost 105,000 acres actually throughout the bay. This is what it would look like if we reach our restoration goal. This is about 185,000 acres of grass mapped out here. And this is where we think all of the SAV would be if we reached maximum potential, or at least close to maximum potential. But what we don't know, what the aerial photography does not tell us, is which species are where. And that's what's really important. Species diversity has been directly linked to resilience of the SAV beds in the bay. So if you have a higher species diversity in an area, that means that SAV bed is going to be more resilient to disturbance, to change over time, to things like hurricanes or high water flows, anything like that. Even herbivory. There's some critters in the bay that actually eat the grass itself. So what we need to know, and why we're starting this SAV monitoring program for citizen scientists, is we need to know which species are occurring throughout the bay and where. So up in this region, the freshwater portion of the bay, there's typically up to about a dozen to 15, or even more sometimes, species of SAV present. Down in the southern portion of the bay, where there's higher salinity, there aren't as many species present. We get 2, maybe 3, depending on the time of year also. And so we want to see how those species are changing over time, whether the saltwater species are moving up in the bay, whether freshwater species are moving south in the bay, whether we're losing species in some areas for whatever reason. That's all information that's really important for us to know so that we know where we need to concentrate our restoration efforts. So we need to go in and actually put seeds in the water, or put up exclusion fences so that we can protect an area for a while if need be, or put up buoys so that boaters don't go into that area and tear it up with their propellers. So things like that. We need to know where it is and how it's distributed throughout the bay, where the different species are. And that's where you guys come in. There aren't enough of us. There aren't enough bay scientists out there. We don't have the time to get out there every single day and determine which species are where and where we need to concentrate our efforts. So you all, river keepers, citizen scientists, volunteers, outdoor enthusiasts, we're hoping that you'll get out on the water and just look around. Take some data for us, let us know what you see, And we can use that to determine where we need to concentrate our restoration efforts. And you will be helping us keep the bay healthy in turn.